What's up? It's B-Sticks.
Back again.
Back in the saddle again. I'm back. Gotta love Aerosmith. Got to love the Aerosmith.
I do. An amazing group.
So
Loving
what
an
the
elevator.
fuck? Oh yeah.
I love that song.
So good. So good.
Song. Oh, what do you think, man? What do you think? It's been something of a very unproductive week, at least the outside business goes, I guess.
Hey, sometimes life's gotta be that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know I
think
called Hooky yesterday at work. I just wasn't. The week was too long, and Wednesday made it seem like it was forever till it was over. Today went by really fast, so it worked, I guess.
I really hope my medical shit is getting under control. I'm feeling better. My head cold is towards the end. I'm coughing stuff up, and at least for right now, I don't have that pressure headache.
Right.
I've been taking the pills, which are good. The other side of me seems to be getting better also. I don't know, this week kind of sapped the life out of me, especially the last couple days. It's just sapped the life out of me, and then there's been a big event in my son's life going on, so that's been going on there, and that's a huge deal. And it's run me out. I'm pooped. I'm wore out. I have no energy, so I'm running on my reserves, and I'm gonna give Beef Sticks my full energy, and then I'm gonna just crash. I'm just gonna plow tonight. I'm just gonna
boom. Yeah, no, I know how that goes. I know we're gonna get off here, and I'm gonna watch South Park, and then I'm pretty much dead to the world as well.
Yeah, my plan was to put on the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie after this and watch that before I go to bed, but I don't think I'll be awake for 2 hours, so I don't know that I'll do that. I haven't watched either Guardian of the Galaxy movies, and I got them both, so I want to watch them. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I barely have. I watched No Mercy. I watched it. I didn't watch it live. I fell asleep during the pre-show of No Mercy. Because I've just been dead. I fell asleep during the pre-show. I watched it the next day. Raw, I fell asleep watching Raw within the first hour. And SmackDown, I didn't even try to watch. NXT, I didn't try to watch. I've been a bad beef stick, I'll tell you that. I've been a not very good beef stick.
I didn't watch No Mercy live either. I decided I would rather play Ark with my brother, and it was worth it. I watched No Mercy on Monday and Raw on Tuesday and SmackDown on Wednesday, and I even watched most of 205 Live. I gotta say, Enzo's doing that much for the brand.
Yeah, he's not doing much. He's not doing much for the network views, but apparently the YouTube views, at least of segments, are going up. So I don't know if that's good or not, because that means people are just going on YouTube just to catch the Enzo stuff, and it's really not helping 205 Live as an actual brand, you know.
Another thing that could help 205 Live here very soon is, I guess, Aleister Black weighs in at 205.5 pounds. So when Aleister Black goes up, he could go to the cruiserweight division, and I think that would help them. I mean, he'll be another Neville, and that's kind of the problem. He'll get the title, and then nobody will be able to contend for it.
Yeah, if they're willing to actually try to make this work, I would love to see them keep it going. But at this point, I think you just need to euthanize it. I think you just need to take it out back, put a bullet in it, and spread the wrestlers out amongst NXT, SmackDown, Raw,
you gotta give it a year, at least. You know, anything WWE needs a year to actually gain traction. I don't know. I think if you could convince guys like Dolph Ziggler to go down to 205 Live, get some really good main roster people who are just on that borderline weight. Finn Balor could be at 205 Live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd
Finn
probably
Balor
have
could. I
better
don't know about-
stories than he does on Raw.
I don't know about Ziggler. Ziggler would be rough, but
Yeah, he wouldn't like it.
Finn Balor could. Well, I mean, it'd be rough for him to get down
Sami
to
Zayn?
205, I'm sure. Sami Zayn, probably. Maybe.
You know, get some of those people down there. Take them away from people and stop putting your 205 live guys on Raw. Don't do it.
Well,
The only place they can see them is 205 Live. That's what they need to do.
They haven't moved Sin Cara yet, have they?
I don't think so.
They don't do anything with him on the main roster, but they haven't moved him, or Kalisto.
And I mean, what about Adam Cole? Would Adam Cole fall in the weight division?
I hope not. That would be such a waste of Cole's talents.
Well, it doesn't have to be. You just gotta make something of it. And like I said, take them off Raw. Don't let people watch your cruiserweight division on anything but 205 Live. And give them their own fucking pay-per-views. Give it the Saturday before like you do to NXT. But yeah. NXT only does 4 times a year. So you got all those other times a year that there's no competition.
Right.
So
I agree. You have to make it seem like an actual brand. And
yeah.
They haven't so far.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they really haven't.
James Ellsworth could go to 205 Live, and he could probably win the championship.
You know what? He could go to 205 Live, and at least it'd get people talking. They need to, I think, I agree with you, keep matches off of Raw, but I think it'd be okay to show highlights of things here and there to promote it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like I said, if they're willing to put the time and effort into it, I would love to see them try to grow it. But if they're honestly just going to keep doing what they're doing now, I don't even have any need for it. Yeah, give it a year. I agree with you. Don't pull the plug now. You've invested this much into it. But it's, you know, unless you're really going to try to change. And they are doing something different. They're trying with Enzo. That's something. Whether we like it or not, they are trying something different.
Yeah, it's just like Enzo said in his promo on Raw, you know where we're at right now? This is the 3rd hour of Raw. You haven't even seen a time slot like this since 205 Live came around, you know?
Which is true.
It is true. Enzo, I mean...
I think it was odd that they gave them the main event.
Right.
Because it was very lackluster of a Raw main event.
Well, after Raw went off the air, the whole Cruiserweight division came down and beat Enzo up. After Braun Strowman comes out and Strowman slams him.
See, that's... I was thinking that when I first seen everybody come out. I thought, you know, if they all just beat him up, then that whole no contact clause doesn't mean anything. Because then there'd be nobody to wrestle him anyways. So as long as they're all in... then Kurt's going to have to be like, well, I can't have you wrestle nobody, so you know what? Fuck it.
No, my biggest worry is now that everybody did beat him up, just ride with it, and then he won't have anybody to fight him at all, and then eventually they'll have to strip him of it, storyline-wise.
I hope not.
But they did. Everybody jumped him after the cameras went out there. So technically, canon-wise, never happened.
Well, unless it was on 205 Live, but... Then again, the old adage.
It wasn't though, because 205 Live is after SmackDown.
Oh yeah. Well, but if it's on 205 Live, I don't know.
It wasn't.
Did they air that on 205 Live?
Oh,
or no?
yeah, they did. They said this is what happened after the cameras went off. That's right. I forgot.
That was
sorry.
my point. That's all right, but. You know, like I said, the old adage always was, if it didn't happen on Raw, it didn't happen. In other words, they never mentioned anything that happened outside of Raw anyways. So
who else?
And that even
who could you pull from the past that could be in the Cruiserweight division that, you know?
Well, there's 1,001 guys. They had Tajiri. They let him go. He's always good. You got, I don't know what Elix Skipper is doing nowadays, but you got Elix Skipper. You know, you got 1,001 guys on the indies right now.
How sweet would it be if Chris Jericho came back, cut a bunch of weight, and goes back to the Cruiserweight division? There's how you would sell your show. See, that's what you need. Bring back some iconic, like, what about Chavo Guerrero? He's not the best Guerrero, but they could do it.
They could. You could bring back Low Key. I know they didn't do anything with him before, but they have the name Caval, so they could do something with that if they wanted to. You know, Paul London. They got the Brian Kendrick. Bring back Paul London.
There you go. And I believe that the cruiserweight, if they're gonna have their own show, they should have a tag team too.
They need a tag title. Yep.
And maybe some women. Maybe some women. Not Alicia Fox. Well,
like 90% of the women are under the 205 anyway, so I guess that's pointless. Really. If anything, you'd want to have like a super heavyweight division for women, where only a handful of them are in that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be. I mean, that would be for what the 205 is for the men. The super heavyweight would be for the women. It's the select few. I don't think so. I think they're finally getting a good roster of women. Let's keep that.
How about Ray? Rey Mysterio could come back and go there.
He could. I don't know that it would happen. WWE would really have to make it worth his time. But, you know, we don't know what's going on with Lucha Underground. But even without Lucha Underground, he makes a killing down in AAA, and he works his schedule that he wants.
Johnny Gargano? Johnny Gargano could go to the Cruiserweight division.
Mr. Wrestling could. Yeah. Johnny Wrestling. WWE burnt a bridge with Ray, which is why I don't think Ray would ever come back. Remember, they held on to him without paying him for over a year because he was injured, and they claimed he had to meet enough dates. And so they literally just held him and didn't use him. And it was, you know, that really pissed him off. It was very similar to the Daniel Bryan thing. Except they're letting Daniel Bryan do his dates. Now, this isn't related to that, but there's been rumor and speculation about WWE could try something like that with Daniel Bryan, depending on how his contract is worded. He might have wrestling dates that he still hasn't fulfilled, and if he wanted to leave, they could maybe hold him. You know, he's been very vocal about leaving. There's been talk that it's possible. I don't know that anybody knows what his contract says, so that might not be true, but we know they've done it in the past.
Yeah. No, I say just go all out with this thing. If you want it to work, make a spectacle out of it. Make it its own entity. Get
Put
some
your
legends.
Best small guys on there.
Yeah. And more titles. You could have the Cruiserweight, the European, and a tag title set. Boom.
I don't know about that. I don't know that it needs a secondary title. NXT got the United Kingdom title, and it hasn't done anything for either NXT or the United Kingdom title. It's hard to have a secondary title on a 1-hour show. You know what I mean?
Right. You could almost say the UK title caused the Brexit.
You could say that.
You could, but the Brexit happened before the UK Championship. But maybe even rumors of it caused it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's depressing trying to think about how to make 205 Live better. How about you put some real announcers on there?
Well, I like Nigel McGuinness. Is he still announcing over there or no?
I don't think so. Hang on.
I know I love Nigel McGuinness as an announcer. I wish he could wrestle.
He's on NXT.
Yeah.
I would say Morrow would be a good one.
Morrow would very much be good. Morrow and Nigel are great.
Yeah.
Them two did the UK tournament together, and they were awesome together. Awesome.
It's Vic Joseph and Byron Saxton.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that could definitely use. I mean, if you're gonna have action in the ring, well, that actually brings up another point too. They don't really do enough cruiserweight stuff. You know, it's the cruiserweight division, and I'm a big proponent that it doesn't have to be all flashy, flippy shit.
But it should be more.
But they should have specialties. You know, in WCW and in ECW, you had cruiserweights that did all the flashy, flippy shit. Then you had the Dean Malenkos and the Chris Benoits and the Chris Jerichos that would go out there and wrestle amazing wrestling matches, have chain wrestling and catch as catch can, and it was entertaining. Right now, they got a lot of matches that are just the exact same thing you see on Raw, SmackDown, but they just happen to be with smaller guys. And maybe their finishing move is something big, but when you think about all the different finishing moves they have on the main brand right now anyways, that doesn't even make a big deal. Right. So they need to differentiate themselves. They need to be different.
Try.
Yeah, trying goes a long way.
Because to be completely honest, it feels like Vince was like, hey, here's 205 Live. Please don't watch the show.
Yeah.
Give them their own night.
They finally stopped doing the blue or the purple ropes on Raw.
Yeah.
I'm glad they quit doing that because that really, again, differentiated it. It's like as soon as the purple ropes came up, it told everybody in the audience to go get your bathroom break, go buy your beer and nachos. And it told everybody on TV, you're watching something different. You're not watching, but not in a good different. I mean, it was almost like this is just something else. Don't worry about it. It's not going to affect any storylines you're watching now. Go do what you got to do and come back for the rest of the real show. We could do a 2-hour show on just trying to improve 205 Live and shit like that.
I almost think we should. We should just stick that in our back pockets and save it for the next time you don't watch wrestling.
Right? Maybe that's what we do. We have a whole fucking 205 Live. The brand we never had.
There you go. It does seem like an awful lot of the Mae Young Classic wrestlers are wrestling on NXT now.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's still impressive coming from the WWE that I grew up with and you grew up with. It's impressive to see so many of these people. And I know it's just NXT, but it's so impressive to see so many of these wrestlers on NXT who aren't contracted to WWE.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
It is a new day. Yes, it is. But it's good. It's very positive. It gets exposure to them. It lets WWE try people out before they invest in a contract and invest time and effort. And, I think it's a positive for both. I think it's a positive. Actually, I think it's a positive for all three. For the talent, for the company, and for the fans, honestly.
Yeah, no, and I definitely think if you move 205 to its own night, that would help it a lot, too. I mean, I know they're like, oh, it won't sell tickets. You won't get fans in the seats. Pick smaller arenas.
Yeah, because fans, you see it on Raw, but fans by that third hour are just out of it. Yeah. They've already watched a full SmackDown. They've watched the dark match. They've seen the main event. And a lot of them are casual WWE fans, and they don't know the people in 205 Live. And so you lose out on some of them. So I'd say about 25% of the people leave the arena on average before 205 Live starts. And even then, you got people who aren't invested in the characters and maybe aren't even into that style of wrestling.
Right.
So you don't get the reaction that you would get from like a Full Sail University where they're looking for that kind of stuff. That is that demographic.
Yeah. And I mean, it would work if you gave them their own night. That's one less house show the main roster has to do. One more day they can spend with their family.
Yeah, I don't know what Full Sail's schedule looks like and how busy they are, but I'd even say it'd be okay to book them in Full Sail University just on a different day.
Right. You know? I think you should make the cruiserweight division work a little bit harder touring wise than NXT, because NXT still is the come up show. 205 Live should be one of 3 destinations, and therefore they should be on the road a little bit more.
I could see that argument. I could see the argument going both ways, but I could see that argument that it should be. Man, but that again, that's going to take years of work. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody in NXT right now or even in the next couple years that are going to be saying, God, I hope I make it to 205 Live, man. You know, that'll take years of work to get that as a destination. It seems like more of a lateral move, if you ask me. We don't have nothing for you on NXT, but we can throw you over to 205 Live before we bring you up to the main roster. Just try to give you something different.
I just think you, especially as a company, they would have to be strict with it. And if you don't weigh more than 205 pounds, you have to go 205 Live. That's where you go. Give them world-class talent. World-class talent. That's what they need to do anything.
That would have to be, again, years in the future, because you don't want to take somebody like a Daniel Bryan and say you can never be WWE champ because of your weight. I mean,
don't you take Daniel Bryan and tell him, hey, the only way you're going to wrestle in WWE again is if you take your ass over to 205 Live and do it. And then give him a belt worth fighting over. Cruiserweight title. United Kingdom title. There's a huge difference right there. Huge difference. It should be a title that's hard for these tiny guys to carry. That's what it should be. It should be a burden you have to carry.
It should be, but again, it takes investment. WWE has to invest for that, for us to look at it like that, for the wrestlers to look at it like that. They have to put that investment into it.
Well, then believe in your product enough to put that money into it.
I mean, you already.
If you don't believe in your product, it's not going to go anywhere. If I was like, oh shit, this Beef Sticks podcast is a pile of shit and we're never going to do anything with it, and that was my mentality, the show would be worse.
Correct. But they're already at a place now where in my opinion, the U.S. Championship is above the WWE Championship.
Right.
So we're already at a point where there's more prestige in the U.S. Championship than the WWE Championship. I don't know that they know how to invest into making something seem important. I think they have with the Universal title, and a lot of people will argue with me, and I know you don't like the fact that it's barely seen on TV, but
yeah, I really wanted Braun to win it. That way we'd have a Brock Lesnar holding the title, but he fights every night because he's got anger issues and has to fight every night.
But I wouldn't mind I would love there to be a clause in the contract, and you couldn't because it'd be too predictable, but I would love there to be a clause in the contract saying that the heavyweight title, whether it's Universal, WWE, let's say you're building 205 into a real thing, cruiserweight title, they can only be defended on pay-per-views or special shows. Like, they're too important to be on Raw or SmackDown. You can come in there and you can do non-title matches, you can come in there and you can cut promos, but I'd love for it to be in there. Nope, cannot be on regular TV, cannot be at a house show.
Yes.
This is main shit. It has to be main shit. It's important.
I think that'd be cool, because then you'd have a lot more, you would definitely have a lot more build up to pay-per-views with multiple people vying for that number one contendership.
Right? And that's where you improve the IC title and the US title, where those are the guys that are fighting for it.
Right.
But I know it takes away. I know one of WWE's big things is you have to tune in because anything can happen. So right there you lose that, at least the title part of it. And I know Vince will never do that because he's big on you have to tune in because anything can happen.
Right.
Same with the house shows. You have to go to the house shows because anything can happen. An IC title can change hands at the house show. You never know.
You have to watch 205 Live because anything can happen. Why don't we got that?
Why don't we?
Why don't we indeed? Holy shit, we've talked a good 25 minutes about 205 Live. Yeah, we could easily make a show out of this.
Yeah. But before we do that, let's move on. Let's talk about No Mercy and get No Mercy out of the way, because I really want to get time to talk about Rick and Morty, because we haven't the last couple episodes.
Yes.
We had our 25th special and we had our half anniversary and we were just overblown. And the fact that we weren't really into wrestling this week, let's get through this No Mercy, because I do want to talk about No Mercy. And then I'd love to get into Rick and Morty. I would love to get into Rick and Morty.
Before we start talking about No Mercy, though, don't you think maybe we should take a trip to the good old refrigerator?
Refrigerator.
I love you.
Because you hold my food and my beer.
I need you.
You're my heart and soul.
You are my soul.
Refrigerator.
Refrigerator.
Holds my lunch meat.
Yeah.
And my liquor. And my punch and cheese. And get stuff cold quicker.
The only thing it doesn't do is give me a blowjob.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to make an actual trip to the refrigerator because my beer's almost gone and getting warm. I'll be back in a second.
Go for it. So No Mercy was this Sunday. On paper, it looked like it could have been half of a WrestleMania. You had Cena versus Reigns. You had Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar for the title. You had the tag team title of 2/3 of the Shield versus the Bar, which has been very big. So I mean, and you had the Demon Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, two guys that again on paper should be bigger than they are in real life, but I mean it looked like it could have been part of a WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
So and I think it kind of fell to the trap that WWE tends to have, and that's that it hyped itself up to where it couldn't reach its own hype. That being said, the show as a whole, I'm gonna give it a B+ grade. I don't know what I would grade all the matches, so I'm just spitballing right here, but I'd say a B+ grade. I thought, especially the night I watched it, I left it happy. Upon rewatching it, the ending is kind of deflated, and I know a lot of the people live in the house were kind of deflated with the last hour, the last 3 matches, and that's understandable, I guess. But I don't know. I consider it that they've had some really bad pay-per-views, and they've had some pretty damn good ones. Surprisingly, Great Balls of Fire was one of the best pay-per-views this year.
Yes, it was.
And nobody thought, we were laughing about that the whole fucking months leading up to it.
We should have known. If it has a flaming cock and balls as the logo, it's going to be good.
We should have known. So with that being said, they had a kickoff show that, again, wasn't announced. They just throw it together at the last minute. They're backstage, and they see 2 people, and they're like, hey, you want to wrestle for a little bit? I'm pretty sure, actually, I know for a fact, I was laying down before this, and I think I fell asleep right after the Elias song. No longer Elias Sampson. He's another victim of Vince McMahon murdering names.
Which is terrible.
Everybody loses their name.
Elias does not sound nearly as good as Elias Sampson. They should have just went with Samson.
Samson.
Yeah,
I prefer the Drifter Samson. But
I'm gonna call Samson.
Right? That would be the best fucking intro music for him. Samson. Half baked. Samson. I would love it. Or just that, just his little Samson right away where Seth Rollins says, "Burn it down." Samson.
Samson. Now I have to watch that movie again. It's my favorite stoner movie of all time.
For some reason, my son and I were talking about it, Phantom and I. Not sure why. But not Vince. Dave Chappelle does not like that movie. He thinks it's horrible. And it's not the movie that he wanted. And I always sit and wonder, I'm like, I wonder if we got the movie he wanted, if nobody would have liked it and it would have bombed.
Right.
Because everybody I know loves that movie. Like, the
It's
way
so
it
good.
turned out, we all thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
And he can't stand it. He thinks it's horrible. So it just makes me think, like, I wonder if the movie he wanted would have been not popular.
Right.
Not saying bad, but not commercially popular.
That's gotta be in my top probably 3 all-time most quotable movies. It's that, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and Anger Management.
Butternuts! It's Buttercup. I know, button stuff!
Butter stuff! No more window love!
It is a good movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Samson. So we had the Drifter, Elias.
As we drifted away from that topic.
Apollo Crews in a match overshadowed by a 1997 stoner movie. I didn't watch it. I can't tell you if it was good or not. They did have Titus O'Neil back in it, so they haven't given up on the Titus brand thing. I would love for them to do something with the Titus brand, just the same way Miz has done something with some of these mid-carders.
Yeah.
Just something to give the mid-carders to do. Titus
look what
brand,
we're coming
this,
to.
that, or something.
The Miztourage versus the Shield. It'll be good.
Which I talked about last week.
Yes, you did.
Before I knew they were going to do anything about that, I was just like, well, you got the 3 of them.
I'm also fairly certain, didn't we bring up something about the odds of New Day and Usos being in Hell in a Cell? I swear to God we did.
We very well could have. There was a lot put into last week, and I was really out of it. I ain't even going to lie. I was really fucking out of it.
I'm glad you're more back to normal.
Yeah.
Getting
so
there.
I don't know. Did you watch this match or not?
Nope.
So we're gonna say forgettable match. I didn't hear or see anything amazing about it, so forget that. Then we had, I believe, the Intercontinental Championship match next. I think that opened to the show.
Yes, it did. And hey, at least WWE didn't put any of their main fucking titles on the pre-show this time. Good job, guys.
I know. It's been a long time because they've been doing that, and that's another way of not making your titles feel important.
Right.
Because the Miz was on the pre-show for SummerSlam. Shitty.
And now he's opening the show on No Mercy.
Well, that's okay. The curtain jerker though is a good position to be in because
sets the pace.
You know you're not the main event. But yeah, you know that they're putting somebody on there that they have confidence in that's going to get people into it right away. So the curtain jerk position isn't necessarily a bad position as long as you're not the initial curtain jerker, such as, Samson and Apollo.
Right.
Miz versus Jason Jordan. He was defending, the Miz was defending his Intercontinental Championship. You know what? I should bring up our stuff, our stats,
our predicciones.
Go ahead and tell us your thoughts about that as I bring up our stats.
I thought this match was a good way to kick off the show. I don't think Jason Jordan needs to be in the title picture in any case yet. But he didn't win it, so that doesn't really matter so much. It was what you expected from a Miztourage match. I mean, Miz did not win the match by himself. But dare I say, it wasn't the Miztourage that pushed him, but his unborn baby.
I liked the ending of it, and I guess Booker, like Booker said, Jordan attacked the Miztourage first. They never did attack him until after Jordan attacked them twice.
It's a rookie mistake, bro.
He did a dive over the top rope and attacked the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when, I believe it was Axel was up on the ropes, Jordan attacked him while he was just up on the ropes hanging out like a gargoyle. And knocked him down, which is what distracted the referee. And then after the Miztourage had been attacked twice now, was when Bo Dallas finally hit him and then he got then Miz got the skull crushing finale. So I kind of liked the ending. It was heel, but it was a good heel ending, I thought.
Yeah.
I said I had picked Jordan and you had picked Miz, but I had said also I don't think Jordan was ready for it yet. So I'm glad they didn't make the move.
Right.
And I honestly think Jordan would be more over right now if they hadn't put him with that Kurt Angle gimmick.
And the problem is they made it public news that Miz is getting really close to breaking records. So we know he's not going to lose it until after he's done that.
So he's going to.
And that's my big thing too, is every time they break one record, started with Asuka's undefeated streak, and then now Miz and the New Day are going to be multiple time tag team champions. And like, don't do it all at once.
Yeah. Put these things years apart.
Yeah. And like, don't pay attention to it until like they're weeks from breaking that record.
Right.
We don't need to hear about it halfway through. It cheapens it so much because we know exactly what you're gonna do.
Well, yeah. What Charlotte has had 5 or 6, and they already say Charlotte's working her way to surpassing her dad's 16 championships. She has 6.
Right.
We all know she's going to surpass Ric Flair's championship run, or at least tie it. But yeah, she's at 6. Why would you say that already?
Right.
You know?
They didn't start counting Undertaker's streak till at least 7 years in. It was more than that.
Yeah, long. It was a long way in, you know, because they didn't even notice it.
Right.
Nobody had even really paid attention to it.
And those are the kind of records you need to be breaking. People aren't paying attention.
Yeah. So I thought this was a solid match. Like I said, I picked Jordan, so I lost this one. But I'm glad that they didn't give it to Jordan yet. I don't think he's ready for it. And then he had a promo afterwards also, which just proved how not ready for it he was, because he was like, you know, the crowd out here ironically chants, "You suck," at my dad, Kurt Angle. But Miz, you really do suck. And it just harkened back to fucking Roman Reigns. I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. Jordan, shut the fuck up and just walk away.
Right.
It was awful. But the match itself told a good story. Jordan, I love his rolling Northern Light suplexes.
Yes.
I just love that. It's just gorgeous.
I do look forward to seeing him throw down with Lesnar. I'll say that much now.
Yeah.
That'll be amusing.
Yeah. So I give the match probably about a B- ish.
Yeah.
I don't know. A B.
Yeah, a B- or a C+.
It could have been better, but to start the show, you don't want to take over the pay-per-view to start the show.
Right.
Then we had man versus man, because we never get that match. So it was literally billed as man versus man.
Man versus man.
Man versus car. That would have been better.
Bray Wyatt's got to be in the car though.
Yeah. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. In a feud that I wish would end, but from what I've read online, it sounds like they've continued it yet.
Yeah.
God, this was a perfect ending for it too. This was a perfect ending for it.
I was very unhappy. I was very unhappy with the ending, like excessively. You know, the whole match, Bray Wyatt is in the advantageous position. Finn Balor had injured his ribs, and the referees escorted him all the way to the top of the ramp, and then he came back.
You know what? I think, not meaning to interrupt you, but I think that really hurt the flow of the match. I think that beginning kind of threw it. From there, it was downhill.
Yeah. Finn Balor should have only came back because Bray was taunting him. Finn Balor should have wanted to stay down there and fight because he's Finn Balor.
Well, to be fair, I think Finn Balor is related to Marty McFly. What are you, chicken?
Right.
Nobody calls me chicken.
McFly does sound
I agree,
Irish.
that was-
It makes sense. It makes sense.
He is Irish. Remember when they go back into the Wild West? He is Irish.
I hate that movie. I just kind of try to forget about that one.
I don't blame you. I agree. I don't think it was a very face thing to do to just walk off like a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weak, and we knew it wasn't like a legit injury. You could tell right away it wasn't a legit injury.
Yeah.
It was pretty pathetic. And then for him to come back and like get his ass kicked by Bray most of the time. I mean, he did do some cool stuff. He could have did even cooler stuff. I know we were talking about this earlier in the week when Bray did the bridge. When Bray did the bridge and Finn Balor just stood there on top of the corner post like, why don't you jump on him? He's bridged right now. You could kill the motherfucker. Jump on him.
An awesome sight to see. It would have been an awesome sight to see.
It would have. They better just be saving that for Mania, because now I have to see it. Or I can just do it at home with my children. Do you want me to do that, WWE? Let me see it, or I'm gonna do it. I'm kidding.
I do think also that they've been throwing that that spider walk or crab walk or whatever. They throw it around so much that it's like how is it still like petrifying?
Right. How does it startle anybody?
Finn Balor? Yeah, how is that still like shocking them and freezing him? Number one, he's already beat this guy and gone through this shit. They got to come up with something new and fresh.
You mean like WrestleMania versus Orton? How they try to fix that up with the projector screen?
I give them credit for trying. It ended up looking horrible.
It was in the right direction,
they tried
though.
Something.
Yeah.
They tried something. That's what I can say. They tried something. I don't have much to say on this that you haven't already said. I was hoping you were going to bring that up because that was a big point of mine with the damn Finn Balor just should have coup de grace him.
Him coup de grace him to the back of the head, though, was pretty sick. That was a good finish. Even though I really badly wanted Bray to move and get the win. I expected Bray to win this one.
It actually was. Yeah, we both picked Bray for this one.
He needed it.
And
that's why he lost.
Yeah. Eater of pins, man. And we even said, you said that. I was like, every time we think he's going to get one is when they fucking screw him.
Honestly, I think Bray losing gets him over either way. You know, it is kind of his job as the bad guy to put over the good guy. He doesn't get enough wins, but I'm okay with where we're at. He still puts on amazing matches.
This would have been better, though, as the ending of their feud. This was the rubber match. This was their third match. You had a match where it was man versus man. Then you had a match where Finn Balor brought in the demon. And then you had it man versus man. So, to me, the only thing they do now is they both come in and paint. Like, that, to me, like, what's your next step? What is your next step?
Bray could just anoint himself with the ashes again.
Yeah, and just walk in there all... I mean, obviously, like, I hope, if they're continuing this, I hope it goes to some really good gimmick match.
Honestly,
Maybe
I feel like the feud should explode right now to the point where they need to go to SmackDown and fight in Hell in a Cell. That's where it needs to go. I can see them to hold this match off for WrestleMania, which is what they're going to do. But if they could do that, where in 2 weeks when Hell in a Cell happens, they chuck them into it, I want to see Bray and Balor in a Hell in a Cell.
I can't see them holding this through WrestleMania, and I think nobody's going to give a shit by then if they do. I know I won't. I do not want to see this drug out till Mania, because I'm done with it now.
No, because you don't keep the storyline going. Like, let's say Balor snaps and jumps Bray backstage, injures him. Bray's gone for a while, but he comes back stronger than ever. That kind of thing. Do that.
With Luke Harper.
No. Luke Harper needs to shave his hair and beard and come back as a normal guy. They can even pretend it's not Luke Harper.
It's Doc Gallows' brother.
Right.
Luke Gallows.
His name is Harper Lucas.
Doc Gallows. Harper Gallows. I don't know. I didn't care for this. I've had a lot of people say this was their best match so far, and I don't think it was. And I just think maybe it's just because that beginning killed it for me, but
It was.
I was disappointed.
I thought it was a good match. I don't think it was their best match. I think their best match is still yet to come. But like I said, like I said last week, you don't really even have to push this rivalry because this is just because of their characters. This is going to be something that lasts through time, years.
I hope
they have to clash. Right, they have to.
I give it a C grade, I would guess.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
I can be there with you. I don't have to be too giving. I'll call it a C. And for the record, Finn Balor won, guys. And we both lost.
Yep. So now I've lost everything. Well, we both picked Samson to win the pre-show, but that wasn't,
right.
That was, nobody gives a shit.
Right. Well, you
that doesn't count.
You knew Samson was going to win.
Yeah.
Was there a question?
So then we had Shia versus The Bar.
The Bar!
I still prefer Dublin 07, but you know what I just finally figured out? I just finally figured out when they do this, it's them holding up the bar.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking know that. I always thought they were like pointing guns because, Cesaro came in as like the hitman guy, like James Bond.
Yeah.
So I thought like they wore skirts because that was Sheamus's thing, and then they did the guns because that was Cesaro's thing. No, that's them holding up the bar. I didn't fucking know that. I didn't realize it till I seen them do it like side by side, and then I seen the shirt that said The Bar,
right?
And it kind of lined up with the bar, and I was like, oh, wait a second, they're holding up the bar, which I don't know if that's cool or dumb, but it blew my mind.
Right.
I was excited. I noticed it.
To me, this was my match of the night. This was
probably the match of the night.
Really fucking good. Really hard fought, and of course, everybody loves the point where Cesaro is slingshotted, goes too far, and cracks his mouth on that corner post. Ladies and gentlemen, let it be known he didn't break his teeth. He shoved them 4 millimeters up into his skull. I would rather break my teeth.
Like.
Yeah, it was 3. It was 3.
I would rather break them out than to have them jabbed up in.
Yeah, that's gotta be horrible. And I think what's worse than having them jabbed up in is when that doctor comes to try to pull them back down.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, you want to be back there when the dentist pulls them fuckers down.
But God bless Cesaro. He played it off like it was no big deal and kept the match going, and he took the hardest bumps in the entire match to his face.
Yeah, and he kept smiling. He kept smiling and just letting the blood run.
You could see, if you watched closely, you could see him be pissed off about it in quite a few different occasions. Like, he looked physically crabby and upset that this happened. But he still sold the shit out of it. Yeah.
When it first happened, you could tell something was not right. Because just for like a second and a half, he had this look on his face like, fuck. And then he went with it. But
Yep. In my book, this would win the Slammy for most hardcore moment of the year.
Very well. They would give it to Shane McMahon coming off the Hell in a Cell. But
yeah, that was at Mania last year though. That's the end of their story year.
Yeah, but their Slammies go from January to December.
Yeah.
But okay. I would agree. This was definitely badass. I didn't go back and rewatch this one. Out of the 3 matches I wanted to, I wanted to go back and rewatch this one, but I knew it was so amazing. I'll go back and rewatch it, but I wanted to go back and rewatch some of the ones that I thought maybe I didn't fully absorb.
And folks, if you haven't witnessed the amazingness, which was my post on the Beef Sticks Facebook, go check it out. It shows a picture of Cesaro and his toothes, and he's smiling. And it says, "This just in, WWE reboots the Bushwackers." Because literally, I didn't watch the pay-per-view till the next day. So when I saw the picture, I thought maybe it was an old picture of one of them. Because it didn't really look like Cesaro. And then I read that it was Cesaro, and I'm like, I need to watch this match. I think that might actually be what locked in me watching the match. But I made some amazing hashtags like Toothweet and we don't just set the bar, we bite the bar. It's great.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But even beyond that, this was a hard-fought
I
match
laughed so hard.
on all ends. I do think Sheamus should have stepped up a little bit more for Cesaro. But I think after Cesaro busted up his mouth, he's like, well, what do I got to lose?
Right? Yeah, I think so. It's like, just go all out at this point.
Yeah. But, you know, if I wasn't completely sold on Sheamus and Cesaro before No Mercy, I am now. And they're going to go down in history as one of the great tag teams. They're good together.
As much as I was against them at first, and they kind of came together in a shoddy way. It was kind of just they were throwing together. Yeah. They were feuding for so long and hated each other, and in WWE fashion, they were just like, meh, let's just make them team now.
But it was a storyline that they did that. They didn't just like...
But it's worked.
Do it.
It wasn't. They literally had him at a bar one day and just said, meh, let's kick some butt. And then they decided to be a team. It was like stupid.
No, Foley stuck them together.
Foley put them in a match together for like the title or whatever. And they didn't like each other. And they didn't work well together. And then they were at the bar one day. I remember because I was happy to see a bar segment. and they like beat up a bunch of guys. And they ordered a pint. And then all of a sudden, the very next week, they're just like best friends. And it's like, so I didn't like the way they were put together, but I'm so glad they were because this works perfectly.
Yeah. I do also have to say, I really enjoy their entrance. When Sheamus's music kicks in and they're both like back to back doing the pose. I love it. And I really like Sheamus's theme song for them as a group.
Yeah. And I like that they don't really push the, European angle on them. I know it's two European wrestlers, but that's really not part of their gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do the kilts, which I don't know if I don't think they do. I don't think the last few times they've done the kilts.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
But that was kind of an ode to Sheamus. But I love the fact that they don't have to be a European gimmick. They're just two badass brawlers.
And it works. It works for them.
And and it's kind of reminiscent of the old Hart Foundation, because Cesaro isn't really much of a brawler. He can fight and he's super strong, but he's like a wrestler and he likes to do moves and he likes to do suplexes and he likes to put on holds and he likes to do throws and takedowns. And Sheamus is a get in there and punch you and kick you and throw you against the ropes and slam you and
Sheamus's 3 moves and Cesaro's repertoire blend really well together. It's
very similar to Jim the Anvil Neidhart would be your Sheamus, and Bret the Hitman Hart would be your Cesaro. And that's one of the classic tag teams of all time right there, the Hart Foundation, one of the best ever.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this match for me gets at least an A. This was a really good match.
Yeah. I was going to say it's not an A+, but it's an A-A easily.
Oh, yeah.
They did now finally name Seth Rollins' finisher, and the name was released in this match, and it's just ridiculous. Did you catch it?
Isn't it the Kingslayer?
It's the King's Landing.
Oh. Okay.
Kingslayer is better. That's what fans have been calling it. But I guess because he's the Kingslayer, he can't have a move called him. I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
But Kingslayer sounds much better. King's Landing. I don't even get it. I don't know if it's a take on Knots Landing, the old soap opera, or if because he's landing his knee. But it's like Kingslayer at least meant he can slay kings.
Mm-hmm.
But King's Landing almost makes it sound like he's the king and he's landing a knee. I don't know. I just call it a
King's Landing is from Game of Thrones.
Rainmaker knee, or what is it? The trigger that Kenny Omega hits.
Oh god. Oh,
you can just call it that because they use like Sling Blade and they use other names. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They could have come up with something better. The King's Trigger. Shit, call it that.
Right. The Rain Trigger.
The Rain Trigger.
Whoa. I just said that, and my search popped up Rain Trigger by Kenny Omega.
There you go.
He must have did
Rain
a...
Trigger.
What the fuck is it?
Which is where Seth Rollins got the move from. The Rain was from Kenny Omega, obviously.
Yeah.
Which Kenny Omega took his move from Okada, obviously.
The Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker clothesline. Yeah, and that's the clothesline, not the knee. So
yeah.
I don't know. I guess we're just not, we're fans. We just bitch about stupid thing. It's called the King's Landing. Move on, I guess. Women's Championship. We had Alexa Bliss defending her title against Bayley, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, and Emma. What do you think?
Here's the brutally honest part from Pasty White. I fast-forwarded through this match.
Okay, and hey, you're brutally honest, and that shows you where their fucking or women's revolution is at right now. It's just another throw all the women in one fucking match.
And when it came down to the finish, I was glad that I skipped it because. And
it wasn't even thought out because the Monday before they had like the 4 women in a 4-way or whatever, and didn't even fucking talk about Emma or let her fucking wave in the background or nothing.
Right.
Like they forgot Emma was in it or something. I don't know. So the match, I'm torn on this. The match was good. The match was actually, I would say, very good in the first 2/3. In fact, there is a sick bump where it would have been a sick bump for a man, woman, child, beast, or fucking brethren. So they got, I believe it's Bayley and I think it's Bayley and Emma are on the outside, and Nia Jax is on the apron, and they go to do like a double power bomb onto Nia Jax off the apron onto the fucking concrete, onto the floor. And Nia's holding on, and I was like, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. Because at first I was like, holy shit, no, they're not gonna do it. Well, then they had Alexa and Sasha both drop kick Nia, and they end up doing the double power bomb to her, and she lands hard, and she lands on her upper back and on her lower neck, and it was just a sick bump. Badass move. All the respect in the world to Nia Jax for taking that bump. It was a dangerous bump, and she sold it. She made it look good. It looked like they did it safe, other than she landed a little awkward. But whenever you're doing a move that involves 5 people, it's hard to make it land 100%.
Right.
But they had really good action. They actually did a good job of keeping the women all kind of involved in their own sort of thing, and making it seem like nobody was just, fucking waiting on the outside just to do something. But I agree with you. I think the ending was kind of... The ending itself wasn't bad, but why... They had Bayley take the pin, and I just don't understand that. They just seem to be burying Bayley, and it's
Bayley
like you had Emma in that match. Why wouldn't you pin Emma? I should say Alexa Bliss got the win. She hit her DDT, which I'm so glad there's so many people now using the DDT as a finisher again. So I'm happy to say that. There's at least like 3-4 people in the WWE roster that uses a DDT finisher. So let's just all be happy about that.
Yes.
Jake the Snake is happy. But I just I don't get why they had Bayley take the pin. To me, it doesn't make sense. I'm glad they did make Nia Jax look strong throughout the whole thing. I forgot there was another move. She did a double Samoan drop.
Nice.
She had Alexa Bliss on her shoulders, and then Sasha was on the top rope, and she was gonna jump and hit Nia, and Nia came and hit her kind of with Alexa, and then brought Sasha onto her shoulders and did the double Samoan drop. So that was badass also. That was pretty impressive. I'd recommend going back and rewatching it if you're gonna rewatch a few of these matches. I would recommend it. But yeah, the ending I thought didn't work very well for me.
Yeah, I didn't
I don't
watch it, so I don't have much to say about it.
If nothing else, just go on YouTube and just find the double Samoan drop and find the double power bomb, because they're worthwhile watching. They're impressive. You'll have more respect for Nia Jax, which I think
She
Nia
should have
Jax
did it with all 4 women.
still be still being pretty green. She has improved a lot. She's not moving at Braun Strowman speeds of improvement, but I'd put her up there with like Braun Strowman as somebody who
She'll be a great in her own time. I guarantee it. And like I said last week, she's becoming having more mainstream appeal. She was just in a plus size models, whatever the fuck you call it, showcase
magazine. Oh.
And
well, she used to be a plus size model. That's where she started. That's what her job was.
Okay.
Before getting into, and actually, if you go back and look, it amazes me. If you go back and look at some of her stuff before she got to WWE, she had to have put on at least 60 pounds before going to WWE. She was way thinner before she got into WWE. Way thinner. She put on a lot of weight for WWE, and that's something you don't see enough of, I think.
Right. They never ask women to put on weight. They want you to lose it.
And, if they have more bigger women that they're going to start bringing in here, that could be really good for her. I mean, hey, they had, Amazing Kong was on the red carpet for the, Mae Young Classics, finale.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
Yeah, she was there with the cast of, Glow, because she's on Glow.
Yep.
She was there with the cast of Glow. So, and then you have that, the gal they're calling Piper now, that was on the Mae Young Classic, and I don't know if she's getting signed or not, but I really liked her. She's a really good wrestler, and she's a big gal. It's like, I'm all for having bigger gals in wrestling. They don't have to be tiny model broads. I don't want to see all of that. I want a variety, just like I do with my men. You know, I want to see a variety. I want to see tiny, I want to see average, and I want to see big.
Give the people what they want.
A lot of people don't agree with me.
No, I definitely like the idea of having more variety in the women's division, because they don't all need to be models or your idea of a model. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As long as they can perform well in the ring.
You look at any of the comment sections of WWE's YouTube channel, or even WWE posts and Twitter posts, whenever they got bigger gals on there, I'm just embarrassed to be a man and a wrestling fan, because they just say some of the most derogatory, horrible shit. And I know that's the internet in general, but it makes it that much harder to get that more variety.
Yeah. Well, you can't deny Nia Jax is a beautiful woman. You can't do that.
She is. She looks better than Sasha Banks or Charlotte.
Yeah. Or Becky Lynch.
And she's not like most girls.
That means she gives head, y'all.
That's not like most girls? I've never met a woman that doesn't give head.
Well, you don't stay in relationships for long either. It always starts out pouring, the river's flowing, and then it just stops.
That's why I don't stay in relationships long.
Right.
Oh, so I don't know. I think it was worth a watch. If I gave it a grade, I'd give it a B plus, maybe a B due to the finish. Now on to what I think was the second match of the night, if not the match of the night, but I think second match of the night: Roman Reigns versus John Cena.
Yes.
This, I mean, all you gotta say is this is a WrestleMania main event right here.
Yeah, it was. It was a 23-minute match, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
Believe it.
Yeah, and they gave it everything. It was a good brawl.
This was another one though where the ending kind of took a lot out of it.
Yeah.
It built built it up and built it up. And I mean, they were giving each other everything. I mean, they were just going at it hard. Cena, I want to say 4 AAs.
Sounds right.
Yeah, it was 4 AAs because he did a AA. I think he did a regular AA. Then he did a
Second
roll
rope.
through his roll through double AA where he does an AA and then rolls and does it again. And then he did a second rope super AA. 4 AAs, and 2 of them were really big ones. Tried to give him an AA through the announce table and got speared into another announce table.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah.
I like how professional he was at clearing off those announce tables. Not a pencil could stay there.
I noticed that too. Like there's like a pad of paper or something, and he even brushed that aside and stuff. Like it's like we're not slipping, we're not doing nothing. It's all gonna be there. But it did almost look like Reigns kind of hit his head hard a little bit when he went over.
Yeah, that definitely looked like he cracked the top of his head.
Yeah, he might have just been selling it, but it sure did look like it, even on the replays. Like he kind of, it was almost like he DDT'd himself.
Yeah, right. That's all a spear really is, if you think about it.
That is what a spear is. Well, when you land it like that, yeah, it's basically just having the other person DDT you, but they get hurt. But the end just to me was really, actually, not only was it just a spear and Superman punch, one Superman punch, one spear, but it was literally after he had just given him an AA. So he gives Reigns an AA, then Reigns just gets up, Superman punches him, spears him, and gets a 3 count. For this beating Cena, that just seemed very underwhelming to me.
Yeah, I agree. He should have had to do, like you said earlier in the week, he should have had to do his super I'm going to bounce off the ropes twice before I spear you thing. Charge it up a little bit.
I get, like, because so many people talk about how everybody does so many finishers. Oh, they have to hit them with 8 before they actually get them done with. So, yes, there's an extreme there also. But when you have and we're going to get to this later also, but when you have a huge marquee match like this with two, in WWE's eyes, 2 super phenomenal people.
Right.
It should take more than one signature move to take them out.
Yeah. And you can't say, this definitely was Cena passing the torch to Reigns.
Yeah. Cena apparently said that on Raw Talk, but he worded it slightly different. Well, I didn't watch Raw Talk, but I seen he worded it as Reigns took the torch. He's like, Reigns definitely took the torch.
I didn't watch Raw Talk, but I did watch Raw, and the next night he came out and he said, I lost to the better men. I'm over 40 years old, and this isn't going to last forever. So I'm glad I could give it to somebody who can actually take the reins.
Yep.
And the crowd, like, all chanted, "Thank you, Cena." And I swear to God, they were thanking him for putting Reigns into that position.
I don't think so. I think because they've been selling it like he's retiring, which he's not. He'll be back by WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
But he did the Undertaker thing. He did the Undertaker thing where he took his armband off,
right?
Laid it in the ring.
He gave it to a kid. He gave it to a kid. He didn't lay it in the ring.
But didn't he lay it in the ring first and then sit in the corner or something?
Yeah, he sat down and
I could be making it up.
That'd be funny. He takes his cargo shorts off and folds them up and puts them in the ring.
right.
Walks out in whitey tighties.
Yeah.
Leaves his sneakers on top of the shorts.
Yep, leaves the sneakers. Yeah, they oversold him leaving. Like, they really oversold him leaving.
Yeah. But Cena did come out on Raw and say he's not done yet. I mean, he's gonna break Flair's record before he goes. We know that.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's lost to so many of these up-and-comers. Who's he gonna beat?
Anybody they want to have him do it. Maybe Vince maybe Vince has to give him another title win just to get him to actually get married. You know, he gave him a title win just to propose. Maybe Vince is like, you gotta get married, Cena, in the ring. Vince, I already proposed. I'm gonna give you that 17th title reign. Come on, Cena. Do it for your father, Vince. Yeah, I don't know. Did he mention anything about stepping away for a while, or did he talk anything about it?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not gonna be there while he's doing the Transformers movie. He can't be because of insurance reasons.
Well, yeah, but he didn't say that, right?
No. But he did say that.
I'm just wondering.
And he did
like,
say his career wasn't going to be much longer.
What's going on?
Yeah. His career will be coming to an end. I wonder if they're going to put him in an I Quit match for his career. Send him out the Ric Flair way when it does happen.
You're still leaving me hanging here, Pasty.
I don't know. You should have watched it.
What did they say?
I'm not good at recanting shit. I'm not. I'm the worst at it.
Or did they not? Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I'm asking you. Maybe you weren't paying attention. I wasn't. I was sleeping, obviously.
No, because he did say something about how he was going to be going away for a while, but he will be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now I'm going to say so many people are shitting on this match. I've heard almost nothing but negative things about this match. I don't hold it that low. I would easily give this match a B+.
Yeah.
And
second best match of the night, easy.
But I've seen nothing but people just shitting on this match, and I don't know. I mean, it was super hyped, but I think other than the ending, we kind of got what we all expected and what we hoped for. I don't know. I don't know what more people wanted, I guess.
Right.
I know people aren't going to be happy that Reigns won, but we all knew Reigns was going to win, so let's just put that out of your mind right there.
Yeah. Let it go, folks. Let it fucking go.
Redonkulous. And then most people had forgotten this was even there. I think you did also when I talked to you or somebody.
Well, yeah, I did forget it was there. I just wasn't there yet. You called
Cruiserweight Championship
when I talked to you. The Cena Reigns match had just started. I figured to put the cruiserweights back on the pre-show, but nope.
Right. This was really a bad, underwhelming match. One thing I really liked was I liked the Beetlejuice references.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you folks didn't see it, you can find pictures online. He came out in like a Beetlejuice striped jumper or overalls or whatever you call them. But one thing I really liked was when Neville had him set up in the corner and Neville was going to hit the red arrow, but he's still holding out. You know, he's still a heel.
Right.
And so he's like, nope, I ain't giving you the red arrow. So
I'm stepping down rope.
Phoenix splash.
Which is the same thing, isn't it?
By the way, no, it's not. It's different. One's forward and one's backwards.
Okay.
Phoenix splash, you dive forward and corkscrew, and a red arrow, you do a inverted jump where your feet go out, not in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But, which by the way is a badass move and very impressive looking.
Right.
So, I mean, you're still giving us what we want there, okay, Pac? Come on.
Right.
But he did do that, and I thought that was cool. That kept with character, even though he is going to just flip the very next day.
Right.
Which is fine. It was a good double turn. I liked the double turn. I'm okay with the double turn. But anyway, Enzo Amore got out of the ring. And this is where it got really stupid. Enzo held up the Cruiserweight title, and Neville was just frozen in the ring because Enzo was holding the title. Like, I really didn't get what they were trying to sell us with. I don't know if they were just trying to say Neville was appalled at the thought of Enzo having it. I really didn't see I couldn't figure out what the story they were trying to tell us. And it didn't seem like the commentators knew either, because they didn't do a good job of explaining it to me.
Right.
So he did.
I just like that the ref threatened to disqualify him for holding the title. I'll disqualify you. I'm gonna do it.
Gets in the ring, and of course, threatens to hit him with the belt in the ring. And then the ref takes it. After the ref takes it, he hits the low blow. And right there, I knew he was winning the title.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Fuck. So he hit a low blow and he got the pin. On the plus side, it's a good heel win, I guess. But for this literally being like his first like fucking match and his first title match, and with Neville being such a dominant king, it was super underwhelming for the end of his title reign to come at a cheap low blow in a fucking 5-minute match against Enzo fucking Amore.
Right.
I was really disappointed with it. And the match itself wasn't great.
Yeah. It was what it was. Enzo talked longer than the match was.
Yeah, or at least as long. So I'd give this like a D plus, maybe a C minus, maybe, but I'm gonna say a D plus.
But to Enzo's credit, it's probably the first time the Cruiserweight Championship has ever been in the second to last slot on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but the second to last slot on a pay-per-view is kind of the what do they call it? The bathroom break. That's usually where they put like the women's match or where they'll put like a match with no title, because it's between a big hyped match and of course you had the Cena Reigns, and then you get people kind of lulled down to build them back up to the next match. So traditionally, it's not a great spot to be in on a pay-per-view.
But it's still later in the pay-per-view than it's ever been.
But it wasn't the pre-show. Yeah, right. It wasn't the pre-show.
Yeah.
Which is where it has been. I don't think the Cruiserweight... God, I'd have to do some research if the Cruiserweight title has even been defended on pay-per-view yet.
I almost don't think so.
It has.
Yeah.
So
it definitely didn't happen when Austin Aries was around.
No, other than pre-show, but not on an actual
They
pay-per-view.
opened a show once, I think.
Did they?
Aries and Neville, I'm pretty sure.
That's possible. So yeah, that was very underwhelming, and so you're gonna see a kind of a trend in these last 3 matches of just underwhelmment at the end, which brings us to the main event, Universal Championship match. I guess if Finn Balor versus Wyatt was man versus man, this is definitely beast versus beast.
Oh yeah.
Now, when I first watched this, folks, I was falling asleep. I was really wore out from watching everything. But then also, the Enzo and Neville match just underwhelmed me so much. So I was kind of falling asleep here. I was kind of out of it a little bit and in it. The first time I watched this match, I actually really liked it. It was kind of 2 big guys just fucking throwing each other around. Lesnar hits a bunch of suplexes. And Strowman hit, I think, 3 of his power slam finishers.
Yeah.
I think 3 altogether. And then at one point, Brock got him up. Barely. I think it was right after a power slam also. I think it was really similar to the Reigns and Cena ending. I think it was right after a power slam. He got up. He picked Braun up. Didn't pick him up easily or way up there, which is understandable.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking him for that. And hit not the best looking F5 in the world. Again, probably not easy to do with Braun Strowman, but we've seen him hit a F5 on Strowman before that looked better than this. And then he just got the pin after 1 F5 on this beast that's been being built up since WrestleMania. I mean, the guy that destroyed Roman Reigns, the guy that's throwing ambulances around. Again, I just very underwhelming finish.
Yeah.
Even the first time I watched it, I thought it was underwhelming. Now, I went back and rewatched this match, as well as the Cena Reigns one, which I thought still held up. This one, I think, when I was watching it, when I was halfway asleep, I'd have my eyes closed and drift off.
And you'd see a better match than what was in the match?
No, but I think I'd get shaken to reality when something was happening and when there was a big move and a big this. And then I'd go to sleep during the low times, and then there'd be a big move and a big this. And so it felt like there was more going on. When I went back and rewatched it, it is a very slow, even for two big guys, it's a very slow match that not a lot happens in. And I thought it felt longer the first time I watched it than the second time I watched it. You told me how long it was, but it was
like
longer
6
for a
minutes
Brock
and 36
match,
seconds.
Yeah, that's longer for a Brock match, but I honestly think, if I remember right, I think the Samoa Joe match was longer than that. I think the Samoa Joe match almost got to 10 minutes. I think it was 9 something, maybe 8 something. Just as much as they've been building up Braun, and the fact that there were some people that thought Braun could win this. God, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, they should have almost put Cena Reigns at the end. In hindsight, I would have. But it wasn't a terrible match. It just wasn't what it could have been or should have been. And maybe it'll happen again. I don't know. But, see, Braun Strowman, Kurt Hawkins came out on Raw, and he said, "This is where my defeated streak ends." And then Braun Strowman's music kicks in, and he's like, "Oh, fuck."
Right.
And Braun comes down and destroys him, and he says, "I want a real fight right now." So Dean Ambrose comes out. He beats the fuck out of Dean Ambrose, leaves him in a heat in the ring. Later on backstage, Ambrose is backstage nursing his wounds, and Seth Rollins comes up. And he's like, "What the hell did you do that for? You can't just do that." He's like, "Yeah, but I'm unpredictable." And Rollins, or he said something about how Rollins is predictable. And Rollins said, "I'm predictable? Well, watch what I'm going to do next. Next week, I'm going to fight Braun Strowman." So I feel like the Shield getting back together will be because Braun Strowman is about to kill both Ambrose and Rollins, and Reigns has no choice but to come help him.
Comes out to make the save.
Yeah.
I almost thought that was gonna happen on Raw. Was it Raw? What was going on that oh yeah, wasn't it Raw when the Miz Taraj was beating him up or something?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was during the Miz TV segment, right?
Right.
Or something? I don't know.
And now we're building up to the next Raw pay-per-view too, which is TLC, which is good. There was some chair action in Raw. I can't remember exactly where it was. But yeah.
Oh, that's a point I wanted to make for the main event also of the pay-per-view. They kept chanting, "We want tables, we want tables." And I'm like, you know what? It's not a hardcore match. It's not an anything goes match. Right. Would you guys quit chanting "We want table" at inopportune times? Like,
right. Well, it's just because of their fatal four-way match when Braun destroyed Lesnar through all the tables.
Yeah, but that again, that's a anything goes match in a fatal four-way.
Right. But that's just it. The fans just wanted that moment.
They still had CM Punk chants too and all this other stupid shit. So.
But I mean, it'll happen at TLC probably.
Yeah. So I tallied up our score, and I can't believe it. I think I beat you, Pasty.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Because we picked a lot of the same things. You picked Miz when I picked Jordan.
Yeah.
So you got that point. I picked the Shield when you picked the Bar, so I got that point. And then I picked Brock when you picked Braun, so I got that point.
Yeah.
The only other one that we got was Roman Reigns winning against Cena. Otherwise, we were wrong about all the rest of them.
I like that. I like that. I'm glad. I'm happier when I'm wrong.
It was and it wasn't obvious. Some of the things kind of seemed obvious. I guess to me, Enzo winning was not obvious.
Yeah, no.
I guess a lot of it wasn't obvious. The women's match, I think it was 50-50.
I think we both said Bliss would win if Nia didn't, though.
Yep, yeah, we both said Nia Jax. We both said if she didn't, Bliss would win it. So, I actually even changed my answer from Bliss to Jax, but I'm sticking with it because I thought, although, I will say this, earlier, I think it was during the pre-show, when they said Asuka was gonna debut at TLC.
Yeah.
Right then, I knew that Nia Jax was gonna lose, because my thinking was Nia Jax was gonna beat Alexa Bliss, and she'd be the transition champion between Bliss and Asuka.
Yeah.
And Asuka would make her debut on the main roster and beat Nia for it, because she's beating a big beast monster, you know?
Yeah, well, she's beat Nia before, too, so.
She has, but I think to me it looks better. Asuka versus Nia, I think, looks better than Asuka versus Alexa. Even though Alexa can win against anybody. She's proven it.
Yep.
But, so my thought was she was going to be a transition champ, which would be an okay start for her. But once I seen it wasn't going to be till TLC, I was like, no, Nia's not winning it and holding it for 2 months.
Hey,
It's
fun
not
fact,
happening.
the Velveteen Dream debuted on NXT.
You mean wrestling or what?
Yeah.
He's been on NXT.
Well, he didn't. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I saw him for the first time.
Oh.
He came out when Aleister Black was in the ring. So that'll be an interesting rivalry. I'm excited to see how those characters.
Together.
Yeah.
They almost kissed.
Yep, very close.
Ooh.
I'm excited to see how that plays out. That'd be a good story.
This could be very good. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
This could be very good.
I love characters like Velveteen Dream, the overly flamboyant, like, you know, they'll get you.
Your Tyler Breeze, your Velveteen Dream. I liked Orlando Jordan.
Yeah.
The character. As a wrestler, he wasn't great, but I liked the character.
Yep. Like we were talking about on the 25th episode, Vito coming out in his dress.
Right?
And he'd flash dudes and then he'd win the match because they're like trying not to throw up. That's a good gimmick.
Perry Saturn used to come out in a leather dress.
There you go.
Pierced nipples and everything. Headbangers
Fucking
used
Perry
to come out in
Saturn.
dresses.
Right. Well, those were more kilts, weren't they? Skirts?
They were. I don't think so. I think they were dresses.
It was a skirt because it was just the bottom. It's not a dress. It's just the bottom.
It's not a kilt. It's a skirt. Rest in peace, Bobby.
Hey, at least he's got the hef.
And right. Rest in peace, Hugh Hefner, man.
Man.
You definitely got to rub one out for the man.
Right.
You know what? And kids.
My hands still smell like lotion.
Yeah, the kids nowadays could never understand the importance of Hugh Hefner, because with the internet, it's just like they're just given a free go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they'll never understand.
I would assume kids these days, like just getting into porn, don't even really know what Playboy is. It's
no. And to be fair,
it's like the 8-track. It's like the 8-track of porno.
I don't think I ever actually masturbated to Playboy, because I had access to some of the smuttier ones that had like penetration and real stuff. So that was kind of my forte. I liked the nastier, dirtier shit. Because Playboy, to be fair, was actually pretty.
It was a classy mag.
It was classy. It was classy. It was classy.
I mean, look at Hugh Hef, classy. Look at the Playboy Mansion, classy.
Hey, some people's favorite, or maybe not even favorite, but yeah, some people's favorite children's writer, Shel Silverstein.
Yes.
End of the Sidewalk, The Giving Tree, all of that.
Light in the
She started
Attic.
her career writing. Yeah, she started her career writing for Playboy. That's where she got her start, was writing for Playboy.
There you go. Hey.
You thought I was gonna say she was in it, didn't you? You thought I was gonna say she was in it.
I've heard this. I've heard this before.
But
just like Roald Dahl, the author of BFG and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, wrote these erotic adult novels.
And you know, it's like a writer is a writer.
Right. You can't
say, how could
R.L. Stein's the only one who's ever wrote for kids and stayed there.
Well, he didn't. He wrote adult fiction. He didn't sell.
I haven't read this.
But I have his very first adult book that he wrote, and it was actually a pretty good one. It wasn't like, it wasn't a porn.
No.
It was like a Stephen King, Dean Koontz type book.
Yeah. No, I want to read that. I was
have
obsessed with the
borrow it to you
Goosebumps.
sometime when we meet up.
The Choose Your Own Adventures really got to me.
I loved those as a kid.
I'd always hold the page though, so if I made the wrong decision and died, I'd be like, nah, fuck that.
I think we all did that. But before Goosebumps started doing it.
Because who's going to go back to the
found
beginning and read the whole fucking thing again? Yeah, right. Go fuck yourself.
I found those choose your own adventure books. I think like the first time I got locked up in juvenile detention. Because you do a lot of reading when you're locked up anywhere.
Yep.
And they had these old, they were adventure books. You know, R.L. Stein brought it to the horror genre, and I don't know if anybody else did.
I used to read the adventure ones too from like the 1970s. Oh.
Yeah, they had your own choose your own adventure, and I got addicted to them. And then later on, when R.L. Stein was putting some of them out, it's like, hey, I know what these kind of books are. That's cool.
Good shit.
Now, I'm gonna cut us off real quickly because I really want to talk about Rick and Morty, and we're getting down in time. I don't know what we're got about a half hour left.
Yeah, we're at 1 hour 30 and 7 seconds.
Just not enough fucking time.
I know, we're not even gonna get around to talking about Gotham at this point.
We can touch on it. We can touch things. I like to touch things. So do we want to start with the latest and go back to Mind Blowers, or do we want to go in chronological and go with Mind Blowers and then go to ABCs of Beth?
I think Mind Blowers was at least a little bit better than the ABCs of Beth. Although the ABCs of Beth was a really good episode.
Oh, whoa, wow, yeah. Okay, so what do you want to start with?
So let's start with the ABCs of Beth and then work our way to what I
ABCs of Beth?
feel is the better show.
Okay.
Oh wow! So you disagree with me there, obviously.
I don't know. Yeah, I disagree. But there, that sounds good. Because even though chronologically it's out of order, storyline wise, one doesn't affect the other.
Right.
So I think
that's Rick and Morty for you.
So go ahead, take us off. You just recently watched this episode.
I watched it this morning, and this is a rare treat for you folks.
I thought you watched it when you got home.
That's what I said, or meant. I don't know. Shut up.
No, you're just throwing me off because I was talking to you at like 5 o'clock.
I said this morning, didn't I?
When I get home. Yeah, you said I watched it this morning.
I didn't watch it this morning. This morning before I started drinking, after my first meal of the day.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm an asshole.
So yeah, this one is kind of a special treat because it's a rare opportunity to see a Rick and Beth adventure. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. But then it was brought to my attention that, hey, it's okay. Jerry's got the kids. And thank God for Jerry. I miss him so damn much this season when he's not there. I love Jerry. And I guess that brings me to this week's Jerry of the Week being Jerry. I'm just going to throw that up there in the corner of the screen while we talk about this because...
We didn't even discuss a Jerry.
We got it in there, though!
And it's a good week for Jerry to get it. I think so. He definitely Jerry'd himself this week.
Yes. So yeah, I gave the rough synopsis. Now you can kind of take it from there.
Well, like you said, I think Chris Parnell is just an amazing voice actor, and
yes.
So yeah, he's been missed as not an every episode character. You gave a really a really brief synopsis.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I was like cleaning up and eating dinner and focused on like 8 other things.
So it starts out with the father of Beth's childhood best friend, Tommy, is going to be executed. He's been in prison for years because he murdered and ate Tommy, his son, which was her best friend. Rick and Beth are talking, and somehow she mentions how she told her she had to go through years of therapy because she made up this floopy world, floopy land.
Yep.
So she made up this Froopy land as a way to explain why he was gone, because she said he got lost in Froopy land, and that was her way of dealing with his dad eating him. Well, Rick isn't a good father, so he didn't hear this and say, "Oh, Beth, no, really Froopy land was real, and Tommy did go there." No. He's just going to let it go. But then Beth says, I know, Fruppyland, a really stupid name, but hey, I was just 6 or 7 at the time, so, you can't expect me to come up with a great name, okay? So it's just Fruppyland. That's what gets Rick pissed off, and we know how he is about his creations, like Pirates of the Pancreas and shit like that. So he's like, oh, well, I think you could do something better than Fruppyland, Beth. She's like, what are you talking about? So he takes out this chalk. And I watch things about Rick and Morty, and everybody, I guess, is saying that this is a reference to Chalk Zone, which it could be. I know of the show Chalk Zone, but it was past me watching Nicktoon. I think it was a Nicktoon, wasn't it?
I've never heard of it.
Nicktoon or a.
So it was probably on Nick.
Yeah, it was a Nicktoon or a Cartoon Network. Anyways, what I thought of right away was Pan's Labyrinth, because in Pan's Labyrinth, they draw the chalk door and then they go into this wonderland, and it turns out to be more terrifying than it really is wonderful.
Right.
And that's kind of what happens here. They go into this, he uses this magic chalk, and they walk into Fruppyland, and it's actually another thing I've heard, Pasty, and you can help me with this, is they say it's very reminiscent of No Man's Sky, the land that they're in, and that there's references to No Man's Sky. I know you play No Man's Sky, so maybe you caught some of those references or not. I didn't.
Not particularly. When I do rewatch it, though, I'll be looking out for that. I mean, No Man's Sky, you're literally playing in a galaxy with infinite amount of planets to explore. So I don't really know many references, unless it's like races of characters.
So, so Beth is kind of like, so instead of taking care of me, you just threw me in this place. I could be the one who died, not Tommy. And Rick goes out of his way to show her it's like the most kid-friendly and perfect place for a kid. The ground is cushy and you can't get hurt falling on it. The water is literally a rainbow that you can breathe with your head in. So the water is rainbow and you can breathe when you're in it. It's just, everything is just the most amazing it can be. Until this bird comes out of the sky, this mutated fucking heffalump woozle human bird hybrid fucking thing. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse if Pee-wee's Playhouse was even more on acid than it already was.
Right.
And it takes Rick and rips off his arm. So Rick now has another mechanical part now because he makes another arm. So they find out, Beth is like, I thought you made it, so nothing could happen. And he's like, well, I did. And then he quotes fucking Jurassic Park guy, Shades guy. Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm. Yeah, Dr. Malcolm, where he's like, life finds a way. And so basically what happened is Tommy got left there a long time ago. Beth never came back again. And somehow these creatures came about from these Fruppyland creatures and human mixing.
Yes.
So that's how there can be painful and bad things, because humans are bad. So, and the funniest thing is they figure this out before they even meet him, what happens. You want to explain how these creatures came about, Josh, or Pasty? Because I love this. I love it.
Didn't he just fuck a bunch of the Fruppy Noopers or whatever?
Yeah, he fucked the Fruppy Noopers, and then when they had babies, he'd eat them for subsistence.
Yes, and that's how he survived. He survived off of incest and half cannibalism.
Yeah, so he's just fucking these creatures. He's getting more and more made, and they eat them, or they grow up, or... which they end up finding Tommy, and he explains it in a super disturbing play, which is a callback to Hamlet almost. Right. A play within a play or whatever. And the best part about this super disturbing play is they got these kid Fruppy Noops, which are half human, half Fruppy fucking hybrid incestuous things, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking about the story of how it came to be. And so he's like, I'm Tommy, and this is my best friend Beth. And Beth threw me into a river, and then she left me to die. But I started humping, and I humped a rock, and I humped a tree, and I humped this beast, and then a baby is born. And then they show a cardboard cutout of a beast, and one of the Fruppy Noop kids come out and says, I am a baby, now eat of my body for your subsistence. And the creepiest part is it's real kids doing these voices,
Right.
so it really sounds fucked up. It's just awesome. It's I love it. I just fucking love it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So anyways, they how did they end up leaving? They left. Did they turn on them, or did she just get pissed at him or something?
See,
or...
I'm not sure. I more pay attention to the B side of the
remember.
story on this one.
I've only watched it once. I'll watch it some more. But anyways, at one sick point is he invites them for supper, and he shows them how he's like, you want to see how I create them? And they're like, no. And then he literally humps this beast that's half his child and half a beast, and then a kid pops out, and they literally start eating it right there. It's really it's disturbing, but in a not so horribly disturbing way. I think it's because they're these Froopy Noop creatures. It's not as bad as
it's not all human.
Kinda, I think it sounds.
Right.
The way it sounds, me saying it sounds horrible, but I think it's not that
It's
bad.
only half as bad.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just a sick fucker anyway, so that's part of it. So they end up leaving, but then Beth wants to go back because she's like, I have to save Tommy. It's my fault. And Rick is like, no, and she's like, you didn't never care for me and all of this. And he's like, Beth, did you ever wonder why I created this Froopy Land? He's like, you were a sick kid. And she's like, no, I wasn't. And he's like, do you want me to show you the toys you asked for me to make you? And she has like a whip that makes people like you, invisibility handcuffs, a sentient switchblade. So a switchblade that literally thinks for itself and is alive. A ladybug taser, an indestructible bat, a parent trap. He calls it a parent trap, like the old Disney movie, and it's literally just a bear trap. A parent trap, and it's a fucking bear trap. So you find out, like, this is the first we've kind of seen Beth has had her problems, and when they went to the shrink, you could tell that she had her problems, and she was really more like her dad than she wanted to admit. But here you see she really does have some problems, more than we ever fucking realized.
Right.
So then she decides she's gonna go back, and Rick's like, I don't care. He's like, you're not even my daughter. And she's like, I know, I'm one of 1 million daughters. And he's like, yeah, well, every Rick has another daughter like you that has a Froopy Land, because every one of you are like this. I thought this was neat because he literally tells her, you're not my daughter.
Right.
So he admits that he's not her Rick.
Yeah.
And as we've seen from the episode before this that we'll get to, the Cronenberg episode is not the only time they've switched realities.
Right.
So they're not even on just their second reality. They're on multiple ones.
At least the third.
So, at least, very least, yeah. So I thought it was kind of neat that he just threw that out there so nonchalantly to Beth. I'm not even you're not even my daughter. It's like, wow.
She knew about it though. She said something about
she wasn't surprised.
Oh, you abandoned me in another universe. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that I don't know, it caught me off guard. And then so she leaves, and he says the best line ever, and I had it, I wanted to get it right, and now I don't. Go. He's like, all right, then just go ahead, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he's like, wow, I don't know why I said that. That had nothing to do with anything. Well, you know what? I'm owning it. Well, go ahead, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then he just says it with even more passion. It was just hilarious because it did have nothing to do with anything. It was just like, go ahead, Stone Cold Steve Austin. She goes back and she ends up just like slaughtering all the Froopy Noops. Like just horribly slaughtering them. And she ends up killing Tommy. She kills Tommy. They don't show her kill Tommy. But he basically, she ends up being like Jerry. She won't admit that it's her fault he's there. And he's like, can't you just admit it? Can't you just give me an apology? And she refuses to give her an apology. And so then they kind of cut, and you go back and you see Rick in the garage, and Beth just comes back the Froopy door just covered in blood. And she's like, well, I didn't bring Tommy back. So what they do is they end up cloning Tommy, and then they end up bringing him to his dad, and so they stop the execution. His dad doesn't get executed because he didn't murder and eat Tommy. That was Beth.
Right.
We don't know that she ate him, but, you know, when in Rome.
Right.
So that was the A story. I actually, I'm opposite of you. I really liked the A story way better than the B story.
Well, if I wasn't doing
cool.
a million things, I would have liked it. I did like what I caught of it, and as you're recanting this story from what I remember and things I remember hearing, yeah, no, it's definitely a good story.
So do you want to talk more about the B story then, or do you want me to take it?
Well, I can start it out, kind of. The kids are visiting their dad for the weekend, and he's got a new girlfriend. And his girlfriend, I don't remember what her name is. Do you?
Kiara. I only remember it because it's Simba and Nala's daughter's name.
Okay, there you go. She's a three-titted alien assassin. Which right off the bat, you're like, Jerry, what are you doing? You saw what she has three of.
Jerry, my man.
Now guess what she has two of.
Ooh.
No, that side of the story was pretty good, you know. He's with her, he's happy. The kids tell her he can't be with her. They call him half racist or something like that. Sexist and racist tendencies. And then he breaks up with her, blames it on the kids for having racist and sexist tendencies. So she flips out and says they need to kill the kids so they can be together. And yeah, fun ensues.
Yeah, it is actually, I mean, this is one where the A and B are both good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
See, I definitely look at the B side of the story as the A side, but I guess it's just because what I saw more of. It was definitely...
Fair enough.
It's good. That, and for me, if Morty's not in it, it's really not A side.
Yeah, that was kind of a meta joke that they put in there too, where Rick said something about all I need is, and he was talking about for a plan to work. He's like, all I need is a plot. God, what did he say? Like a plot. Whatever. I'm running. I had to quote. No, I don't know what it was. But basically, he says like he needs like the 3 story elements and something to be positive for Rick and Morty. So he basically saying for an episode, they have to have like a plot. They need to have a conflict. They need to have something that's what it was. He needs a plot, a conflict, something that benefits Rick, and then of course Morty.
Right.
So those 3 things, or those 4 things, it was kind of what I took it as was that's Roiland and Harmon saying those are the 4 things that we demand in an episode.
Yeah.
We need a plot, a conflict. We need it to benefit Rick, at least at the beginning. You know, it's got to be something that Rick is going to be benefiting from, at least in his mind. And then it has to have Morty in it.
Right. Well, not every episode has something that Rick thinks he's benefiting from, because there's been twice now that Morty's called the adventure.
Yeah, but he was benefiting from it both times. Well, kind of, I guess. You could say he was benefiting from cashing in on the thing because he told Morty he could get one every few ones, and he was benefiting from the King Jellybean one because he was getting Morty to shut up. I mean, I guess you could argue, okay. Maybe not. Maybe not. Or he could just have been benefiting from the King Jellybean one because he wanted to prove Morty wrong, and he wanted to prove that Morty couldn't have a good adventure. That could have been what he was benefiting from. Okay. I don't know. I'm not trying to. I'm not gonna say I'm in the mind of the writers, but I'll just, I'll fucking make shit up. I'll create an ex machina.
But to sum it up, and because we do have to wrap soon, we have about 12 minutes left until we're going into overtime. Rick ends up breaking off with her. She wants to kill the kids. He tries to prevent her from killing the kids. He tells her that he was just using her to get back at his ex-wife, or she finds that out. She gets really pissed. She's about to kill all of them. And then her ex-boyfriend comes up. Hey, Kiara, what the fuck are you doing on Earth?
And he has 3 breasts and 2 of something.
And so it turns out she's been using Jerry to get back at him.
Yeah, Jerry was her rebound.
It's so funny how pissed off Jerry is about it, too. It's great.
I know, right? I honestly think that this was the most season 1 or 2 type episode that they've had all season.
Yeah.
Like, I think this one could have fit in season 1 or 2 and fit just well. I think it would have fit in. Other than the big Beth stuff at the end. I guess, yeah, before we go, basically at the very end of the episode, Rick tells Beth that he can clone her to be a perfect clone, a clone that'll take care of the kids, love the kids. Nobody would miss out on anything, and she can leave and go do whatever she wants, whether it's for a day, a week, a month, or a lifetime. And they end the episode with you not knowing if she took that offer or not.
Right. I did kind of feel like the Beth that we saw at the very end interacting with the kids was a little bit different. But it did seem like she had decided to stay.
It's like, is she different because this is now the clone? Or is she different because she sat and looked at all the pictures and decided she was satisfied with her life? And so now she's going to do that. So I agree. It gives you something to think about. And I hope they don't solve that, by next episode. I hope it's something that goes into season 4, if we get a season 4.
See, and I've been questioning all season, like, are we even with the same Rick and Morty? But, like, no, because if they Cronenberg Earth and then fucked up another universe, the odds are we are still with the same Rick and Morty. And I'm glad that that's kind of been cleared up for me. I'm still trying to figure out why everybody has ass faces in the intro. There's something to that. And there's a reason why it's like that. Something is fucked up in the storyline.
The one I want to see is the 2 summers. It looks like almost like the Cronenberg summer and our summer that are fighting some things in the intro. That's the one I'm really interested in.
Yeah. But like the intro for seasons 1 and 2, a lot of it'll probably never even be in an episode.
Yep. I have a feeling we'll never get the Cthulhu one until maybe the last episode.
Right.
That's kind of like their thing. So let's get into Morty's Mind Blowers.
Morty's Mind Blowers.
This one is an anthology episode similar to Interdimensional Cable.
I was pissed because they were going to sit down and watch Interdimensional Cable.
I know, they teased you. They teased you so perfectly.
Those dicks.
But we didn't get it, and we got something different. I don't think it was as good as Interdimensional Cable 1, but it was probably just as good as Interdimensional Cable 2.
I can give it that.
So yeah. I give them credit for trying something different. I like the fact that they're at least dedicating themselves to one anthology episode per season, even if it's not always going to be Interdimensional Cable.
Right.
The one thing you lost in this is that you could tell there wasn't near as much improv. It was fairly scripted, told out stories. But that can be a plus also. I mean, some of the stuff was pretty loose, especially in the second, you had that fucking squid man or whatever in the second Interdimensional Cable that just fell flat. So, do we want to hit on a couple of our favorites? What was your favorite or favorites?
Oh, Jesus. There's a lot of them.
I like the Jesus one. Oh, yeah, there wasn't a Jesus one.
No, you kick it off. You kick it off and let me see what I can do.
I have 2 favorites. One is a bigger favorite and one is short. So I'm going to start with the short one that maybe isn't a lot of people's favorites, but for some reason I just loved. So Morty's making a shelf. And he's got a level out there and he's trying to level it. Everybody knows what a level is. It's a bar with fluid and a bubble, and you got to get the bubble right there. And Rick's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm making a shelf. I'm getting it level." "You call that level? What are you, primitive? What are you going to make something level with a bubble and some water?" "Oh, well, gee, Rick, what do you think? You could make it more level?" He's like, "Yes, I can, Morty." And they go on this quick montage. It had to have been 5 seconds. It's super quick of him just leveling out this portion of land, just a square, probably 3 foot by 3 foot square in the garage. He's like, I'm done, Morty. Morty goes, he steps in it. And at first I thought Morty was being sarcastic, but he's not. He steps in it and he's like, oh my gosh. Oh, how level. Oh my God. This is amazing. Oh, this is so perfect. The world makes sense now. And then Summer comes in and she's like, Morty, you got to go to school. And she's pulling him out and he's like, no, I can't leave. And as soon as he steps out of the level ground, he's like, oh my God, nothing's right.
Right.
The earth is good. The earth is horrible. Everything's wrong. Everything's crooked. And he's like, lambs to the cosmic slaughter. I love that line.
Yes.
Lambs to the cosmic slaughter.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. I cracked up so hard for that. That was so great. Because he was in pure ecstasy while he's on pure level.
Yeah, and it's like, God, I want to feel that. So that one was good. My second favorite was the Moon Man episode. Or the whatever skit. I liked the Moon Man. Basically, Morty's looking through a telescope at the moon. Yes. And he sees a guy on the moon, like looking very suspicious. He's got the curled mustache like all villains do. And and he sees him, and then anyways, later he sees him in school, and it's Mr. Lunas, and we all know Lunas is like lunar. And Morty's like, that guy was on the moon. So Principal Vagina comes out there and thinks on the moon is code for molesting Morty, and so you get a pedophile joke from him. And anyways, he ends up killing himself because everybody thinks he's a pedophile. And then at the funeral, people are like, Mr. Lunas was a great man, had a loving family. Some say he looked like a smudge on a lens. And then Morty goes back and looks at the telescope and he sees the man on the moon again. And then he looks at the front of it and there is a smudge in the shape of Mr. Lunas. And so he thinks that he made Mr. Lunas kill himself.
My God. What have I done?
The biggest thing about this, I was pissed that at his funeral they did not play Goodbye Moon Man.
Right.
Goodbye Moon Man. I was like, that's the perfect spot for them to play Goodbye Moon Man. What do you think of this short?
I liked it. I feel like it was kind of one of the biggest shorts in the episode. Mm-hmm. Almost cornerstone to the episode. I gotta say, one of my favorites was Left Light Switch.
Yeah.
That's so great. Morty flips the wrong switch. Flips the other switch and then flips the first switch back.
Light switch flips.
And then they gotta go kill a bunch of people because of it.
No, the people were dead.
Oh, yeah.
It was their life support.
Yeah.
For some reason, the power to their life support is in Rick's garage. So.
And I was also very enthralled with the squirrels control the world before it got to the end point where they said, "We've already done this once, Morty. I told you we only have so many of these." I was way into it.
I actually really liked that one.
It was really good.
I think
is he listening to us?
Yeah, we got a possible 190, or we got a 190 on a possible Doolittle here.
Yeah.
I love too how they're like, apparently the squirrels are running the world because they're making all these big moves and something about Iran or Russia or something, and yeah, it's. And I like when they find out he can hear him and he's walking away and they're like, "Little boy, we're magic squirrels. If you can hear us, we'll grant you wishes." That one was good. Another good one. They're getting out of the store, which by the way, the grocery store is called Vomits Groceries.
Yes.
horrible name for a grocery store. They're coming out of Vomits, and this guy, some kind of creature, I don't remember what he is, but he's an alien. He's like, "I need you to kill me." And apparently if his people get killed by a hero, they ascend to heaven. Yes. and live a perfect life. And so, Rick is like, "I'm honored you think of me as a hero. I'll kill you." And they're like, "Hey, you want to go out and have a last meal or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So they go out to like Shoney's or something and they're eating. And then Rick goes to the bathroom. He's like, let me go to the bathroom before I kill you. And Morty's like, God, it's really cool that you guys like know there's an afterlife. That's kind of great. He's like, well, what do you mean? Well, here on Earth, we don't really have any proof that there's an afterlife. It's just kind of nobody really knows. And the alien's like, proof? What do you mean proof? And Morty's like, well, it just, and the guy's like, what? No, it's been a lie. I don't want to die.
We don't have proof.
Away. Yeah. So he runs away and ends up getting hit by a car and killed. And as soon as he's hit by a car and killed, you see these demons
from Ghost. They're from Ghost.
Yeah, it is the same. It's the same shadow creatures from Ghost, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
and they pull him down into their underworld. And then so number one, the guy gave up a chance to live in eternity in paradise, and he ended up dying because he lost faith. But then Morty has a great point because he's like, he said there was no evidence. That's really fucking concrete evidence there.
Right.
Yeah. If you've seen demons take somebody's soul down into hell, you got pretty good evidence that it's real. Another good one I really like, just really quickly, was Bevo. You remember the Bevo one?
Oh.
They're on a planet that gets to 300 degrees below zero at night.
Oh yes,
so
they
got a tauntaun. Their good friend Bevo. Rest in peace, Bevo. Bevo is my new Harambe. So they have to tauntaun him the way they did on Empire Strikes Back in Star Wars, where they got to gut him open and get inside him. But then they sit inside him and they're waiting for it.
Looks like in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And they're on the wrong planet.
Yep.
So they just uttered Bevo for nothing. There was a Contact one, which I don't know if it's because I just don't care for the movie Contact, but I didn't really care for that. Where they make a woman, they get put in this collector's thing, and they get a hold of the gal and make her build a thing, and then they get there and switch it. That one wasn't really great.
Yeah.
I found the Granite one was pretty funny.
Yes.
Just because you don't see Rick being that stupid every now and then.
Right.
He's like, Rick says, really teaches you, Morty, not to take things for granted. Like, what? Yeah, you just can't take life for granted.
And it's a callback to an earlier memory too, because there was stone people or boulder people. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Contact episode, Contact episode, and Morty's like, "Are you saying take things for granted?" And he's like, "Yeah, take things for granted. It's granted with a D." Oh my God, Rick, have you been saying granted all this time? What are you, one of the boulder people? And that's something that Rick just makes him. Well, I guess we didn't even explain the main story of this.
Right. It starts out and Rick and Morty are escaping from their usual adventure. And Morty's got the tortoise, and Rick tells him not to look the tortoise in the eye, otherwise you gain all the knowledge of the universe. And of course, Morty looks the tortoise in the eye, gains all the knowledge. Say? Oh God.
He says something that's in reverse.
Yes, it is in reverse.
And if you reverse the audio, he's saying, "I'm a beetle. Paul is dead." Which is to get on the old, conspiracy that Paul died and was replaced with a look-alike. And in one of the Beatles albums, if you play a part in reverse, it says that Paul is dead.
Yep.
It's funny that the turtle just says that, "I'm a Beatle. Paul is dead." Go ahead.
And so he has a complete meltdown, and they go back to the house, and Rick's like, "Well, we could sit and watch an episode of Interdimensional Cable. Are we going to do Interdimensional Cable 3? And then he says no. And so they go to the room where they wipe memories for Morty's sake. And there's all these different colored vials. There's blue ones. There's red ones. There's, yellow ones that we never even got into?
Yellow and green, both that we never got to see what these are. There's red, blue, purple, and then there's yellow and green that we didn't get to see.
And as the episode progresses, you kind of gather that each one actually represents a different type of memory that was erased. Some memories that Morty wanted to forget, some memories that Rick wanted Morty to forget.
Like the Granite one.
Yep.
and then the other one is when his family hurt him.
Yeah.
One that his family members wanted him to forget. So like Beth and Summer or something like that. And so I didn't think about it till literally just now that we were talking about this. If Morty got to know everything by looking into the turtle's eyes, wouldn't he have known about all of Morty's mind blowers?
Right. We could have skipped the episode and got on with Interdimensional Cable 3.
Then at the end, they end up erasing each other's memories. Summer has to go through, and there's written description on how to give them back. So you know this has happened before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, they completely forgot who they are. They're ripping through the memories, trying to figure out what it all means. Morty probably hates Rick more by the end than he ever has before.
But then he gets it wiped again, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Gets it wiped and then rebooted.
She's like, Summer comes in and asks, "Is this a code 3?"
And Rick's like, "Who are you?"
Oh, I guess it's a code 4.
So she pulls out this card that tells her what to do, and it's like, take the yellow one, shoot Rick. Take the blue one, shoot Morty. Bring them upstairs, turn on interdimensional cable. And the very last thing it says is leave room immediately. Which I didn't catch this until my second time watching it. I didn't get what that meant or if there was any point to it. But then the second time I watched, or maybe the third time I watched it, they're sitting in there and they're watching interdimensional cable. And then they just keep shitting on Summer. Like, God, Summer, what a bitch. Jeez, Summer, why don't you... We're trying to watch interdimensional cable, and you're just... God, Summer, you always screw everything up. And it's like, you just know Rick knew he was going to be a huge dick to Summer. So in the card, he told her to leave room immediately so that she didn't sit there and get berated by him.
Right.
So then she finally gets up and leaves, because she was going to sit down and watch it with them, and then they just berate her.
And that's another rare moment. It's Rick kind of showing that he cares about his family. Yeah,
right? And then there's another little shot that I think you gotta guess it was put in there by I don't know if maybe the writers did it themselves or if Harmon and Roiland wrote it. Obviously they had to have spoke it, so they knew it was there. But Summer says, "Geez, no wonder you guys never get it, or no wonder you guys are always behind schedule because you're always fighting so much and can't get along." And that's basically a complete nod. Apparently,
the rumors that were going around
that season 3 was taking so long is because Roiland and Harmon were just fighting nonstop and couldn't get anything done. So I thought that was kind of a fun little. I could see them doing that.
Right.
Putting it out there like, you know what? We have our problems just like any relationship, but we're working through them and we're getting stuff done. That kind of reminded me of a similar thing when we were at the Galactic Get Down and Dead Larry and Joe was up there talking about, maybe if I just relax and stop bitching so much, we'd get a little bit more taken care of. It kind of reminded me of that, just where it's just kind of like, yeah, you know what? We're having problems, but we just take care of it and we move on and we're going to give you great quality stuff.
Right. Because
so shut up.
It's time proven together they can accomplish lots. Yeah. I never knew really either Dan Harmon or Justin Roiland, and I know you're mad at me for that because I don't watch a lot of the cartoons he's voiced in. But if it wasn't for Rick and Morty, I wouldn't know about either of them. I don't watch Community, and I don't watch Adventure Time.
No, I think these two are I think they found the perfect marriage for each other.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I actually don't really know much that Roiland or Harmon did because I don't think Roiland had anything to do with Adventure Time, to be honest. I know he's friends with the Gravity Falls creator.
He played Lemon
I
Grab.
don't think he really has anything. Oh yeah, he does do the voice of Lemon Grab. You're right, he does.
I even watched the show and I know that.
Yeah, you're right. And I didn't know it, but I don't know how much creative input he had on it at all or not. But I didn't know him as a household name. I didn't know Lemon Grab's name, who voiced him.
Right.
Not like I did John DiMaggio is Jake, obviously I know that. But Yeah, I wish we had more time to go on Rick and Morty, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more I could talk about, especially of the ABCs of Beth. Oh, which by the way, anybody out there who hasn't seen it, that's a take on the title of the movie ABCs of Death. Go out and check it out. It's an anthology horror movie. Ironically, anthology again. But yeah, it's just one of those cheap anthology horror movies. Some are pretty good, some are really shitty. But just a whole bunch of different little horror shorts in it. It's called ABCs of Death. It's similar to like the original Tales from the Crypt.
There you go. They're rebooting that too.
Anthology Trick or Treat is another one that's kind of a good anthology horror movie. There's been a ton of anthology horror movies. They're good because sometimes horror is better in shorter formats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are rebooting Tales from the Crypt, the the series, right? Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like it's going to be good too.
It should be good.
I hope
it better be good. I don't think it could be bad. I always liked it more than Twilight Zone.
I'm hoping that we actually get some Tales from the Crypt. It's like the original Tales from the Crypt series, I think only had like 2 episodes that were from the Tales from the Crypt comics.
Yeah.
And most of them were like from a bunch of other comics. But yeah, I always loved the original Tales from the Crypt. That's another one. Some were hit or miss. Some weren't that good, but some were great.
The host sold it for me. As a kid, the host sold it. I was terrified of it, but I had to watch it.
So as a kid, it's so much better too than when you go back and watch it. But when you go back and watch it, it's good.
Well, nowadays horror, it doesn't hit you nearly like it did. I watched the new It, and I was like, it was a good movie. I laughed quite a few times.
I don't think did we get to talk about that at all?
No, we didn't.
You and I mean. Not like
oh yeah, we talked about it because you said you seen it. I think the next day, and I had to call you and talk to you about it. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, but I definitely want to talk about Gotham next week too, since we didn't get around to that, and that is my favorite show on television.
And I'll make sure to catch the second episode, so we'll have 2 episodes to talk about.
I'm so happy it airs on Thursdays now, so when I get home from work on Fridays and I'm done with my week, Gotham is my treat. Oh, it's perfect.
There you go.
Perfect. Magnifique. Thank you guys.
Folks, we love you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Actually survived the whole... I sat here for the whole damn show. It's been a few weeks since I've been able to do that.
You have not pissed. So. I'm very surprised. I'm sure you have to go now.
Fuck pissed. I hadn't shit. That's what I was happy about. That's what I was happy about. So, yeah. Again, thank you for your time.
Check out the Patreon.
Like episodes.
Hey, now you can find us on GoFundMe as well.
Correct.
Help us get higher on computers. Help us get the things we need to give you guys the clearest, most precise, and beautiful streams we can give you.
Yeah, because we're doing it for you. All you got to do is look for Cloud Style Broadcasting on GoFundMe. It's the same thing you look for anything else.
Cloud Style on Patreon.
Share our message.
B-Sticks Podcast on YouTube. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And click that little bell and join our notification squad.
Yes. And if you haven't already subscribed on Spreaker, make sure to subscribe on Spreaker. Feel free to download. Get informed every time we drop a new episode.
Yes. And I'm even starting to think about taking the YouTube in a whole other direction. I mean, we'll continue to do the weekly live stream video. Give you guys that extra dimension to the show. But I definitely want to, come on with some spot news throughout the week. You know, shit we're going to forget before the podcast rolls around, but we need to get it out to the people now. And
right, when big news stories drop.
And with what culture falling to pieces, now's our chance!
Strike while the iron's hot.
Rest in peace, what culture for wrestling. I'm kidding, I'm probably speaking
Ross,
far
you can be
too
Jack
soon.
the Jobber.
No way.
Or are we going to be the 2 Adams?
I'm Blumpy. I'm definitely Blumpy.
Then I'd be
Pachiti?
Pachiti. God, I couldn't even think of his name for a second.
Panini! I'm going to be a Panini!
That's what I almost said was Panini. Adam Panini, the sandwich man.
Oh,
All right.
shit.
Anyways, we love you, folks. You know we love you. It's been fun. It's been great. It's been real. I like talking about more than just wrestling, especially since I've been behind on my Fantastic Fables because I felt like shit.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully I can get you to start watching The Gong Show now, too.
Yeah, I watched the Bong Show already.
There you go. Fuck yeah. I definitely want to do an episode sometime, probably on 420 or around 420, where we can talk about our favorite stoner films. Because
That'd be good.
Yeah.
They're out there, man. There's a plethora of them. Plethora.
Yes.
All right. So with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. I am Fat Mac.
And I'm Pacey White. Thank you
I
for
love you
tuning
like a
in.
lovesick puppy.
B6 Podcast is gone.